Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide and to a video that I am very happy and excited about because today I am announcing that earlier than usual and a little bit more than usual, MDO 2025 is out, but it's also accompanied by the MDO 2026. Well, I've been very hard at work for the past weeks in order to actually be able to bring you guys this earlier than usual and twice as much than usual. This decision is a direct response to many of the requests that I have been getting over the years, and one of them was, even though the new MDO is coming out in September of current year for the next year, for enough users that was a little bit too late, and they frequently said I begin to plan my stuff in mid-summer. So I thought, okay, let's roll back and try and schedule it for that. And the second part is that even though this is not a release for academic users, because academic year starts in September and then or mid-August and then ends well into the next year, this time I wanted to accommodate that and basically offer both of the years so that those who do have the need for both calendar years 2025 and 2026, that they can actually have that option early on. In this video you will find first the chapter of what's new and what's different in these versions compared to the previous versions, and this is mainly intended for existing users of MDO who are upgrading to 2025 and 2026. Now for new users you also have the second part of the video, which is a general introduction and user guide basically for the MDO, which I highly encourage you to watch if you don't know, and even if you are an experienced user you may actually pick up some tips and tricks, because I do show a couple of things that basically how I use it on a day-to-day basis to get the maximum out of MDO in both personal and work-related organizing needs and situations. So let's begin. And here it is, my daily organizer 2025. And as usual, we have multiple different versions and some improvements, some small changes. And for that, let's introduce Remarkable as well, so I can show in parallel different versions. As usual, MDO comes in Monday or Sunday start variations. You get both of them in the package. The other difference that is also present is that you have the ability now to choose between a AM PM or the 12-hour format and the 24-hour schedule format. So this is one of the major differences in both versions of 2025 and 2026. I used to have the AM PM version here so that people can cross out things. I actually like that system and I think it works, but there were enough users that were kind of complaining about it that it warranted for me to actually kind of change this and find a way to improve this a little bit. And at the same time there was a lot of European customers who were saying, hey, it's okay, fine AM PM thing, but I do prefer the 24-hour format. So 24-hour format is reintroduced, and now you have the schedule going from 5 a.m. to 23 or 11 p.m. And the same thing is on the AM PM version, except that there's no AM PM indication here. It goes from 5 to 12 and then from 1 to 11. Now the idea behind this is that if for some reason your scheduling hours don't fall into this category, for example, between 5 a.m. and 11 p.m., what you can do is actually just write, hey, I'm starting at 5 p.m. and then from here on it's 12 a.m. and then you know what's what. That makes it a lot simpler and easier for those who have special scheduling needs, that this can accommodate it with minimum amount of effort. And for those who don't, well, then you don't really need to add anything, and it's perfectly simple and understandable, I think at least, to actually see like, okay, I'm starting from 5 a.m. and then continuing on to the p.m., whereas the 24-hour format is naturally self-explanatory. Majority of the things remain remain the same with some small improvements. One of the major improvements that has been added is basically the overall contrast all throughout the whole document. So now the contrast is even more sharper, tauter, and stronger, so that it actually makes the visibility a lot easier in different conditions, whether you have a front-lit device or not. MDO has gone through several iterations now, and I have been refining the design with your help and your feedback to kind of make it better and better and better. I try to focus on things that the users have reported and that I have noticed, and basically kind of embed that into these versions as well. One of the things that has been requested was, can I add links to quarters in the days as well? Because currently you have, in a month, you have a link to quarter. In a week, you have a link to quarter. However, when you go to a day, there you don't have a link to quarter. Now, I have tried a version where I had a quarter link here, but I had to kind of go back away from that because that added 365 or more hyperlinks, depending on how many you add, right? Because if you add it to the daily notes and etc., then it's like each new page is 365 more hyperlinks. Older devices such as the Remarkable and the SUPERNOTE A5X, they would actually start to struggle a little bit. So this amount, which is nearly 15,000 hyperlinks in this document, this is sort of like a threshold for these older devices. And since a lot of users are on Remarkable 2 or the SUPERNOTE A5X or the A6X, I decided to basically can that one so that the user experience can be more equal across the older and newer devices. In the package for either of the years, you will get all of the versions. So there are no different versions for different platforms. The unified UI seems to be working really, really well across all of the platforms that I've ever tried. In the package, you will receive pretty much this universal UI version that contains both 12-hour, 24-hour versions for Monday and Sunday start. And each of those will have 3 different cover versions. So you have Monday 12-hour cover 1, 2, 3, Monday 24-hour cover 1, 2, 3, Sunday 12, 1, 2, 3 cover, and Sunday 24-hour standard covers 1, 2, 3. The cover versions 1, 2, and 3, they're identical documents. The only difference is the design of the front page, and this is the cover 1. This is a very standard thing. Cover 2, and of course cover 3, which doesn't indicate the year, but it does have these blank areas here that you can fill in any way that you want. So that could be, for example, you can say that maybe this is going to be my 2025 personal, right? And then I can have a different version that is work, or I don't know, something else. So that is the intended use of the cover 3 version. But other than that, all of these versions are pretty much the identical type of functionality and identical type of document. In this section of the video, I'm going to do a general overview of functionalities and what MDO is and what it is not. First and foremost, MDO, My Daily Organizer, is not an app. MDO is a hyperlinked PDF document, which means that it follows the same limitations as any other PDF document. What does that mean? It cannot synchronize to any other services or any other calendars or anything like that. This is simply a digital representation of an old school paper kind of organizer, except that it has this intricate design and hyperlink functionality that allows you to do all of these things. It cannot automatically insert tasks. So for example, if you add a task or an entry here, it will not automatically be added to week 2 or the day, in this case January 6th. This is something that you have to manually do. again, same as you would do on a regular paper organizer of this sort. So what can it do? Well, everything around it is completely hyperlinked. Your hub is basically the yearly calendar, and the yearly calendar has interactive areas such as quarters, so you can go to any of the quarters and then you can of course go back, so you can just go through all of these. Then you can tap on any of the months, and then you will be transported to the monthly organizer or planner, from which of course you can go back to the yearly one like this. Okay, and then of course you can tap on any of the days within the year and you will be transported to the daily planner of that year. And as you can see, from each of the quarter, month and day, you have this breadcrumb trail that you can go back and forth. You also can go to My Notes, which lists all of the notes available. We will cover that also in the end, and My List as well. So from the yearly calendar, every page in the entire document can go back to the yearly calendar, and that's why it's the main hub of the document. In the quarters, this is your quarterly planner where you have your days per month, and here as well you have access to, throughout the entire document, in every page you have access to My Notes and My Lists, so I won't be repeating myself there. In the quarters, you naturally have the links to different quarters so that you can navigate, of course, back to the year that you want, but you also have access to go to a specific month or a specific day. Next, we have the months. And in the months, you also have going back to a year, going back to a quarter. In this case, we have access to all of the days, right? So you just tap on this upper one and then you go back and here, and you go here, etc., etc. So normal interaction to go to a certain day and go back. But you also have on the sides here, you have introduction of the weekly planner. So from the monthly planner, you can go to a week planner and then fill out what you need, and you, of course, from the weekly planner you can go back to your monthly planner. So you can see that you have multiple steps going backwards, forwards, so you can quickly jump from any area to any other area, and that's what this intricate hyperlink design actually allows you to do. The additional thing that you have also are two panes of notes. You can either write in them here, or if you find them to be a little bit small, this is normally how I use them. I just generally pinch to zoom and make my entries here. Right? So this is like normally how I would do these things. But what I also like to do if I'm using it for my either personal or work is basically I use the left hand node for planned tasks or whatever it may be that you want, and then I use the right hand pane or row of notes for achieved. Right? And then on each month, I have a very good overview of basically what was initially planned, and at the end of the month, I do a reflection on what has been achieved, and that gives me like a really good reflection point on a month-to-month basis, whether I'm reflecting on work tasks or personal goals or anything like that. And then over time, if you actually pay attention to this, the planned versus achieved thing should equalize more and more. Rarely it's going to be everything that you've planned. Sometimes you achieve everything that you've planned. Depends how ambitious you are, of course. Generally speaking, it's an organizational tool, and if it's used like this is something that can help you actually identify and pinpoint, hey, maybe I'm overly ambitious, maybe I have issues with time management, and then you can address and pinpoint these things, and you can see how you progress and how you change your habits and your organizational habits over on a month-to-month basis. And lastly, you will see that we have arrows here, which actually allow you to skip forward or back between the specific months. This is something that is consistent throughout the whole document, and you will see that it is present in weeks, in weekly notes, so you can just simply switch to all of that, and of course in days you can switch between different days, daily notes, daily diaries, etc. Then you have the weekly planner, which has access back to the month. Then you have access to the year, you have access to the quarter, you have access to weekly notes, which is one page with lines that allows you to fill in whatever it is that you may need. So that's just there for your use if you want. And from the weekly notes, again, you can go back to the monthly planner, to the week planner. As I said, my notes and lists is available throughout the whole document, and to the year. So if you just want to go back to the week planner, you simply tap here and you are back there. The whole point of the weekly planner is that it gives you the layout here with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the Monday start, and on the Sunday start versions, it starts obviously on a Sunday. With one final section here that allows you to specify your week goals. I like to use the weekly one as my starting point, like on end of Friday of a finalizing week. Then I usually open up the next coming week and I fill out general schedules here for the week itself with week goals, what I'm trying to actually achieve. And then in weekly notes, I write my reflections, right? So that's how I personally use this. I use the weekly notes page for the achieved or reflections on the things, and that can be a lot of things. It's like, what were the problems, what were the things, etc., etc. So I try to make it concise, but as far as the weekly planner goes, this is a really good overview of just, you know, kind of at a glance, taking a look and seeing what's what, where you are in a week, what's been done, what needs to be moved. For example, from here you just move it down there, etc., etc., and then it just really works as an organizational tool as well. So let's just show a practical example here of how I would normally use this. MDO 2025 and 2026. So that's the type of work that I'm going to be using, and then I would list some of the major tasks, which is test all links, prepare, store material, verify versions on devices, right? So that's just a very, very general example. Now, let's say that I have finished testing all of the links. So I would just say, okay, that's done. I verified the versions as well. But in this section here, I didn't have time enough to prepare the store material. And if I have tasks that have not been completed, for example, then I can select this one and then basically just move it. Well, I didn't select it very nicely, but if you select it a little bit more nicely, you can just simply move this to the other day, and then from here on I can continue working normally. And in this case, I would just delete the stuff that I don't need and then continue on as planned, and then add more tasks. Now, if I have repeating tasks that I want to repeat over the week, now, even though MDO is a hyperlinked PDF file and I don't have any automated functionalities, what I can do is use a lasso tool, copy this, and this functionality you can have on pretty much most of the devices out there. So that's why I'm showing it like this. And basically I can just go to the next page here, right, using these arrows, and then simply paste what I have copied over here. And then I'm done. And then I can go to the next page, paste again. And depending on the platform, it may paste exactly where it needs to be, or sometimes you may need to reposition it here and there. But basically, in a couple of minutes, you are able to basically paste all of your repeating tasks through for the entirety of the year, since there's only 52, 53 weeks. So that's a very easy and practical way of how you can manually but easily transfer repeating tasks throughout the whole year for the week. And at the heart of the planner is, of course, the daily planner. And the daily planner consists out of several sections and pages as well. So first, the daily planner itself. It has the upper menu here where you have your navigation arrows like we had on the weeks and the months. Then you have your day, month, week, year, and you have access to the week itself, right? Or you can go back and underneath it, there's weekly notes as well. So that's something that's kind of easy to go. And then of course you can access the month itself and go back to the month here. You have access to the year, and you can quickly jump from here to there. And of course, access to my notes and my lists. Underneath it, we have two buttons, the daily notes and the daily diary. The daily notes takes you to a dedicated page, which is called Daily Notes 1, which is similar to the weekly notes page. In this case, you do have 2 pages worth of notes. So you have Daily Notes 2 and Daily Notes 1. The way to access the Daily Notes 2 page is by simply flipping a page on your device. From either of the daily notes pages, you have the buttons here where you can go either directly to the daily diary or directly back to the daily planner. And then onwards, we have also the access to the daily diary, from which also you can go back to the either daily notes or directly back to the daily planner. So all of these are basically interlinked and connected so that you can quickly jump between them and navigate within a day and plan your day that way. Now within the daily planner itself, we have 3 sections here. On the right hand side, we have the schedule, which has your time. And as I've discussed, this is an example of the 24-hour format, but you also have the 12-hour format that starts from 5 a.m. until 11 p.m. And you have the schedule as well. Up close, you will see that there's a full line and there's a dotted line as well. So the full line represents the full hour, the dotted line represents the half hour, and you write your tasks on the line where the number is sitting on, basically how you normally would write on any other line. On the left hand side, we have our to-do lists with check boxes that you can just fill in and then check things as they go along, and your notes that you may have during the day that may associate with the to-do list or whatever it may be. And finally, as an important part of the daily planner, you have the daily diary. And the daily diary is a self-reflection tool more than just like writing your thoughts and things like that, because you also have that. So you have the My Daily Log there, and you can use the daily notes as well if you need more room for that. But the left hand pane here is a lot more important one, because it goes My Goals, and you have 3 goals that you have for that day, for that week, for the month, but at that day, what are your primary goals that you have? Then you have 3 things that I'm grateful for, again, 1, 2, 3, and a list here, small amount of space to write down the best thing that happened today. Now this here is again a self-reflection tool that when used over time will help you gain perspective, understanding, and see where you are going, what's happening. And just as a self-reflective tool, I find this to be a very nice thing to just kind of jot down at the end of the day, because it helps us actually focus on good things, especially, you know, during difficult times, to reflect back and see what the priorities are, where you are in life, and what matters and what doesn't matter. And lastly, you have My Notes and My Lists, which, as I said, are accessible from the entirety of the document. When you go to the My Notes or My Lists, they're exactly the same, right? They just lead to different documents. You have this huge list of 102 sections, and for each one you have room to write either a description or a title or something like that. Next to them there is a number, and when you tap on a number itself, it takes you to a dedicated note, and you have 102 dedicated pages for your notes. Now what you can also do is you can use a white pen here. So for example, if I choose a pen here and I say that it's actually white, maybe a brush with a higher stroke here, and then simply erase it. That way you can easily erase the note if you want and put on your own title, but remember to use a proper color this time. So My title. So in this case, if you really need to, you can change the title that way. And the same thing functions with the My Lists as well. In the My Lists, you have the access to 102 pages with to-do lists, and each one has 6 different sections for to-do lists with room for a title, and 9 to-do tasks that you can check. And that is what MDO is all about. So this is a very comprehensive, minimalistic, focused type of a document. And yes, it definitely has limitations that you absolutely have to be aware of. But on the other hand, it has been designed in a very, very careful way so that your user interface and the user experience is as seamless and as natural as possible, and that it actually follows the flow of the thought as good as it possibly can. And I tried to create the user interface and the user experience as good as I possibly could by employing my experience and everything that I have from different branches and different industries that I've worked in to try and create a powerful tool that's really there at your fingertips, but out of the way, and it's not trying to slow you down, it's not tripping you over, you're not tripping over the tool itself, it's just there for you to use and enjoy. Now, because MDO is a hyperlinked PDF file, that means that multi-platform functionality is really, really good. Any BOOX device will work, so it doesn't matter if it's a BSR device, you can normally function and you go through the whole thing and jot down things and just make it work. Or if you have a large-scale device like the Tab X, everything still works as you normally would expect it to. MDO will work normally on the Remarkable, so the hyperlinking works. You can pinch to zoom and find where you want it and add your entries. Or you can use Kindle Scribe and normally adjust everything that you want here, and again add your entries. It works, of course, on the SUPERNOTE platform as well, and on smaller formats as well, where you can either zoom in things, or in the case of A6X2, for example, I do prefer to use it in a landscape mode, where it actually allows me to quite easily basically navigate between, okay, this is where I'm planning, and then the zoom level is actually the same as on a 10.3-inch device, and I can normally use it, right? And then when I'm done with that, I can simply go here, navigate to somewhere else where I need to go, and then onwards with my other planning needs. And the same thing applies to any section of the document. You can use it like this, or you can pinch to zoom and then adjust the zoom levels that way. It also works perfectly fine on the SUPERNOTE A5X or the A6X, the regular version as well. So you can normally navigate. So I can use it here as well. And we're not limited to just those devices. Basically, any device that supports a hyperlinked PDF file and annotation on a PDF file will be able to run MDO without any problem. So, for example, here's an older Huawei that has those functionalities, and I can use it normally. Or even writing capable Kobo devices. In this case, this is Kobo Ellipsa 2, but the same functionality will work on Kobo Ellipsa 1, Ellipsa 2, Sage, and even Deliberate with the pen. Now, the writing capabilities of these devices are a bit limited, but the functionality definitely works, because these also support the hyperlink functionality, and they actually are fairly reactive, as these are a little bit more modern devices. So this is the difference that you can actually see from, 4-year-old devices and something that's a little bit more recent. You will notice a difference in speed and interactivity between, let's say, for example, Remarkable 2 or the SUPERNOTE A5X and the A6X2. Those are the best example, because it's the same platform, same same manufacturer, but different versions, and then you do definitely see a difference in performance. But you are not limited to e-ink devices only. The smorgasbord of devices here. Actually, MDO will work perfectly fine on your computer. So for example, on Microsoft Surface or an iPad or any Android tablet. So there's tons of users that are normally using it on Samsung tablets, on iPads. They report that Notability works really well. It is compatible with virtually anything that can open up a PDF file, that can use hyperlinks in a PDF file, and that can write annotations or handwriting on a PDF file. Okay, so both MDO 2025 and 2026 are available right now at mydeepguide.com/shop. Now remember, if you are an existing user, you should already have received the email campaign that contains a 30% discount code. So all of the existing MDO customers have the right for a 30% discount on either MDO, MDO 2026, or the bundles, anything that's MDO related. So that's my way of saying thank you for the loyalty of supporting and actually staying with MDO throughout the years. If you haven't received the email that contains the code, please allow for 24 hours because this email campaign is being sent in chunks, and most of the cases, like 99.something%, is successfully delivered, but there is this small percentage that either bounces back or is rejected by some of the email servers, and that is basically the case where maybe you don't receive the email. But also, please be sure to check out your spam and junk folder, because sometimes it can end up there as well because it's an automated email campaign. So please be sure to allow 24 hours and also to check your junk and spam folder for the email that contains your discount code. And if you still haven't received it, then you can contact me at mdo@mydeepguide.com and let me know your previous existing order number, and you will receive your discount code. On Shop, you will find that it's possible to buy separately just MDO 2025 or 2026, or a bundle 2025 and 26, or a bundle 24 and 25, or a bundle 24, 25, 26. So basically all permutations are available there, so you can pick and choose which one is best suited for your needs. Also, if you are a new user and you haven't used MDO before and you are unsure about how to unpack a zip file and how to copy the PDF files onto your device, please check out in the description below the link to the installation instructions video. That one was for MDO 2024, but it's exactly the same procedure and exactly the same rules apply. So if you follow that video, you should have no issues whatsoever. But even if you have issues after following the installation guide, then you can contact me at mdo@mydeepguide.com and I'll do my best to help you out. But please be sure to watch the installation instructions video before you contact me, because most of the information is contained there and should be something that helps you out and resolve most of the things. Also, if you have any questions or platform related specific kind of situational things, check out also in the description below. It's an older video, again for 2024, but it applies equally well now for 25 and 26. It's about commonly asked questions and tips and tricks, and there I cover BOOX, SUPERNOTE, and remarkable platforms, basically what you can expect and how things work, and basically how to best set up things and how to resolve most commonly faced issues, problems, or how to answer most commonly asked questions. And also the links to all of these videos are included in the download file. They're included in the download email that you receive. So all of the instructions are there. All you need to do is just read it once, and more often than not, all of the stuff is already covered there. Well, okay, so MDOs 2025 and 26 are available now, and I'm really proud and happy to bring them to you so that you may enjoy using them in the years to follow. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the feedback and for helping me improve the product after each year and just making it better and more tighter and more suitable to your usage needs, because that also helps me understand, and it helps me because I use it on a daily basis as well. So those improvements and suggestions help my use case as well, because genuinely the product just becomes better because of your input and your feedback. So thank you very much. And also, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!